Chapter 3. Section 2. The external mind of the man consists of the sense of sight, interrogation, smell, taste and touch, and the organs of these five functions: eyes, ears, nose, hands and tongue, along with the body that carries all these organs. This external mind is bounded by the five senses, and they in turn are bounded by the external mind. As the external or outer mind is enveloped by the five senses, it is unable to evaluate or identify the truth, or is ignorant of it. As the five senses only provide the power to discriminate color, appearance, smell and touch, the external mind, being bounded by it, can only infer and judge. Men's connection with the outside world consists of only inference and judgment. That is to say, we become aware of worldly matters by inference and the knowledge we get of worldly affairs. The present scientific researches are all of this type. Much of the education we have obtained is from this type of education by inference. Teachers, ulamas, a part of them, and graduates obtaining degrees and knowledge are all from this type of education. The basis for the description of the book Knowledge is this physical world. The discordant ideas, or wamu, too, originates from this external mind. It is also the birthplace of the desires nafs and amara. If this external or outer mind begins to act on its own without any connection with its inner mind, power of reasoning, his behavior would be akin to that of animals, or even worse. If the desires and wamu, or discordant ideas that are formed in the external mind, are eradicated, we will then be in a position of not enjoying or experiencing the world's pleasures and sorrows, or of any of its likes. Hence it is wrong for us to eradicate wamu completely. This is because if one were to rid him of wamu or common sense, or both, then we will not experience the sorrows and pleasures of this world, nor become aware of the same. The necessity of our being born to this world would become zero. Hence, Allah has made us with the ability of not being able to rid ourselves of both these completely. However, this wamu, or discordant nature, could be made amenable to our common sense. Allah's inclination is also this. To the wamu that originates in the outer mind, the physical world looks a paradise, but for common sense that originates from inner mind, the world is a hell. To this external mind, religious revelations would be as bitter as the seeds of margasa, whilst for common sense it would taste sweet as ambrosia. The book Knowledge that was formed by the inferences of the outer mind assisted by common sense would all be 100% true is an open question. Some of them may be 100% factual, but this too is only known to common sense, and wamu is ignorant of it. This education by inference and knowledge of it is obtained by us from educational institutes, madrasas, colleges and universities. We have stated before that the book Knowledge is mostly formed by using what is called evidence and infer what is not known. This conjecture or inference may not be truthful in all instances. If the inference or estimation has been on the correct basis, then the knowledge we receive from it would be authentic. If the inference is partial or false, then the knowledge would be false. This is not an unusual discovery. A few amongst our imams have provided details of Iman and Islam, especially the ilm dealing with fiqh are of this type. Ilm-ul-Yaqeen's truth arises from this. This knowledge, that is ilm-ul-Yaqeen, or the knowledge of mu'amalat, fiqh, has not been formulated on the basis of genuine facts, and this has led to imams having conflicting views, opinions and different explanations, and varied and subtle legal arguments. This alone is enough to infer the weakness of the basis. We do observe a book published by a person of knowledge being opposed, supported by or given different interpretations by others of his ilk. We are aware and know that the decisions of the magistrate's court being overturned by a higher court. This is a normal course of events. In the case of Emman and Islam, many do not accept this fact of experience. The reason for it lies in the three veils we mentioned previously. The common sense in the people does not act efficiently in people whose mind is engulfed in these three veils. It even stops completely. You must therefore at first understand that in the path of Islamic who is desirous of treading God's path there lies a great truth. The fact remains that the explanations and descriptions of Emman and Islam by the learned commentators and Mufliheen who are bounded by the book knowledge of experience or Mufliheen, are not true or fully authentic. This is the great truth I spoke of. It may, in some instances, be true. However, we cannot come to any conclusions until we rid ourselves of Wamu. Only then we could analyze the Quran and Hathees with aligned references and supporting evidences from the point of view of the common sense in order to arrive at its truthful teachings. The kind of knowledge or education you obtain from inferences at the beginning and its shortcomings are given for you to imprint in your minds. I will provide you with an explanation. Section 3. Imagine yourself strolling through a single pathway overgrown with shrubs in the dark twilight hours of the evening. You observe a venomous snake on the middle of your pathway. You get frightened and you get the courage to yell regarding the presence of the venomous snake. An old man hears your frightened yell and comes along with a lighted torch. In the light of the torch you observe what you thought as a snake being a mere rope. You inferred that the piece of rope as a snake in the darkness, you believed in it and obtained Iman about it and laid your trust in it. It is true that in the darkness a rope to you was a snake. But when the light was on the object, your suspicion of the rope being a snake disappeared. Further, with the disappearance of the suspicion, the truth of the object being only a rope emerged. The inference you made in the dark of the rope being a snake and the belief in it, Iman, is called al-Mufliheen. It is the knowledge of the snake you previously possessed that made you conclude the rope as a snake. The belief you obtained after the light was brought was only a rope and not a snake, you name it in al-Mufliheen. After this incident, you feel ashamed and bashful of your false inference. Name this as a Live-Oneness or vilifying conscience. This conscience has connections with the inner mind. It is the Wamu, the property of the outer mind, that made the rope look a snake. The basic cause for this is the environment of darkness. In darkness common sense cannot function. Once there was light, a Live-Oneness that has connection to the common sense gets activated and conscience begins to function. In a similar vein to the people struggling in darkness that is Wamu, conscience never comes into play. The one who functions with the conscience and the subsequent Mufliheen of the different stages of conscience will be able to somewhat discover the truth or will be fully engrossed with truth. One who judges himself as having done wrong or making mistakes is one who is treading the path of truth and could be called a man of truthfulness. Pardon is one that is obtained by the working of one's conscience and not by word of mouth or by lengthy prayers. Dua is something that must be borne in mind and understood. The explanation of the example the twilight darkness in the story is Wamu, take it as such. Blind belief could also be an appropriate explanation. Hence erroneous book knowledge, traditional practices, mind's desires collectively was responsible for this Wamu, would summarize the whole incident. The Iman that inferred so is al-Mufliheen. The belief that it was not a snake but a rope is in al-yaqeen. The old man is the ustad or guide who assisted to find the real truth. The common sense is the lighted torch that gave light in the darkness. The pathway is the deen, that is religion, and the overgrowth is dunya. Do think clearly of this parity and analyze it from different angles, viewpoints and directions. Hence it is now clear to you that we, by perusing erroneous book knowledge armed with degrees and honor and truly engulfed by these and in such positions, what we infer or conceptualize on all subjects or ideas would all be not correct. Section 4. My beloved brother, now use your common sense. When we observe all the creations in the whole universe using our ordinary knowledge, it becomes apparent to us of certain details. Any creature will not create itself by itself or obtain its needs without the assistance of another. There we infer or conjecture from this that there exists some power or entity or principle that has created or creating these creations. This entity, principle or power is referred to as the Creator. If we give our thoughts to how the Creator has created the form, properties, principles, shapes and color of the creations, our knowledge will shudder to know the facts behind this process. From it, we infer that the Creator is omnipotent, omniscient, is of perpetual life, omnipresent, has the power sight, interrogation and all other senses that can be imagined by us, and we also fully and unconditionally believe in them. God's other qualities should also be included along with these qualities. Further description of this subject would be too expansive for this book. Hence, by our senses and with our knowledge, if we give our thoughts to the world known to us, it becomes clear that there should definitely exist a Creator who is beyond our senses and knowledge, all-powerful, all-knowing, and in perpetual life. We believe in this by conjecture, inference or conceptualization. As the human knowledge infers and passes judgment, and the trust that arises from it is man's Iman's primary state. The belief and Iman obtained by inference is accepted, and there is no law to restrict us to this acceptance alone. There are many reasons for Iman's primary stage to gain acceptance. We will find them at the appropriate places. One who has obtained the primary Iman would earn the name of believer, but will however remain a person who cannot obtain full peace and tranquility or fullness. The person who found the rope to be a snake by trusting in inference and Iman, obtained a benefit that was fright and fear, and also frightened others. After receiving the light, knowledge, wisdom, the belief Iman he gained was the benefit of fright and fear disappearing from the victim and it being transformed into peace, and doing the same to those who came to his rescue. Therefore the Iman we inferred by education is not the complete truth, and that to obtain full tranquility we must obtain Iman by evidence or observation. This must be understood, for we cannot accept that complete truth can be obtained by inference alone. Surah 20, verse 110. He knows what appears to his creatures as before or after or behind them, but they shall not compass it with their knowledge. Hence, using the knowledge we receive by inference, we could attain the primary level Iman called ilm-ul-yaqeen, but not the secondary level of evidential Iman called in-ul-yaqeen. The latter cannot be got thus. Let us think over the primary level accepted Iman at this juncture. Two truths emerge from this belief. One is the definite existence of a Creator of all worlds' creations. The second being the existence of the creations created by the Creator. We have to obey and worship the perpetual all-powerful Creator, accept His commandments, and refusing to do so will only prevent us from obtaining and fulfilling our needs and wants is our firm belief. We also live in fear that if we do not accept his commandments, we may be subject to punishment. In a similar vein, if we live by his commandments, obey and worship the Creator, we will be gifted and our desire to enter paradise would be accomplished, is our belief. This is the primary state of all the world's inhabitants. Though differing in religions, principles and rituals, the primary state is the same for all. This short description is the religion of devotion. These men in the primary state, awams, fear the omnipotent Creator's punishment and desire to be rewarded by the Creator, fear favor. Thus they are struck between the two. To the man in his primary state, awams, an explanation of the commandments of the Creator he believes in must be provided, and they must be guided to attain a higher status by a religious text and by teachers, nabis, who could explain the contents in the religious text. All these are very important exercises and a necessity. It is also necessary for the teachers to impart the religious texts in a manner that could be comprehended by the listener. It must be to the level of the knowledge the awam is already equipped with, and also help him to attain a higher status by good guidance. If the explanations are not in keeping with his powers of comprehension, he will not believe in it, nor will he accept it even if it is true. This is because he is in a state where his common sense is not fully activated, as it is engulfed in discordant ideas or wamu. Hence his wamu has to be eradicated, and his common sense be activated fully and completely by employing strategies that would get him to a higher status. This becomes the sole duty of the religious books and its teachers. It is with this objective that religion has been revealed, and it is with this objective that nabis, rasuls and prophets have been sent down to this world. Therefore the common aim of the religion and the prophets is to transform the man in his primary stage, that is Atha Alath, to the stage of Atharikath, which is the second stage of man, and to transform those in the second state to the third state of Ahakikath, and those in the third state to the fourth state called Murthath. By doing so he would attain fullness, peace and tranquility. It is in this state that prophets and revelations are expostulated, Quran Hathees. They are formulated to motivate man's power of thinking. But the people in the early times, after the demise of the prophets, in the form of pseudo-religionists, have expressed and formulated ideas that has fully misdirected the people. The people have been given the descriptions of Iman and Islam that are totally opposed by the Quran and Hathees, and as a result the actual objective of the Quran and Hathees has changed. By this, a person in the state of Atha Alath, however much he strives to climb to the second state of Atharikath, he will never achieve it, as he is enveloped by falsehood. Added to this, he is also totally ignorant of the second state of Atharikath, and he revile a person who is in the second state as wayward. Let us patiently understand and know about it. Some people of yore, lacking in knowledge with a view to make the people accept them and their views, have used prayers as a shield. They have not responded to the queries: A. Why we pray? A. What is prayer? A. What are its secrets? They did not care to teach them these responses even a bit closer to the truth. Whoever whose last words were "A la ilaha illallah" will enter paradise are the sayings of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was their only teaching. What is its inner meaning? The commentators have failed to explain it. In addition, they have given commentaries that are opposed to the aims and objectives of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Allah. These pseudo-religionists, learned dignitaries, have enacted selfish rules, and all that they preached to the innocent and ignorant folks was only the external aspect of the prayers as a means to enter paradise. This topsy-turvy and erroneous descriptions only stabilized one's primary state of being awams and hence continued living in darkness. By this they were forcibly denied the chance to attain a higher state. But the fact remains that Rasul, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and Allah have enacted in every description of the state of Atha and thoughts of how to get to the higher state. The very first fact that is given to man is kalima, which would instantly make man use his power of thinking, but some people have turned it in such a manner that the man who knows kalima is distanced as far as possible in his thoughts and hence suffers the inability to a higher status. If good gets spoiled, even a dog will not need it. Section 5 has the explanations that were expressed to the awams, the ordinary people lacking in knowledge motivated them to think. Let us delve into this subject. These awams have been taught that if they obey the Creator's commandments and perform good deeds they will go to paradise, and if they do not do so, hell will be their abode. They have also been taught that the Creator is not in need of anything. This person, having believed in the former, the latter teaching motivates his thoughts. That is to say, if the Creator needs nothing from us, is it necessary for the Creator to send us to heaven or be happy into hell, if he is angry? One who becomes happy and angry, should such person need good and bad deeds? If so, what is the meaning of the Creator not needing anything? His thought waves begins to act and seeks solutions to his own queries. Likewise, if we say the Creator is omnipresent or is everywhere, then where does he actually live? If the Creator lives where creations live, then will the creations have a place to live? True. The Creator is a Arapi, one who has no physical form. Wouldn't it mean that he cannot emerge as a Rupi, physical form? If so, how could we believe that the Creator is omnipotent? Therefore, would there be any other aspect or truths that we are not aware of? The awams begin to think thus. Do remember, it would be so in many other aspects too. Think it over. The primary thing that is taught to ignorant and innocent awam, many of it motivates his thinking and hence transforms him to a person thirsting for knowledge, and acceptable doubts are created within himself. To clear all these, he meets the learned in the social community, reads books or kitabs in his attempts. But many of the learned in the society, books and kitabs would block his train of thoughts and lead him in a wrong direction when they yell accusing him of treading a path of atheism. The cowardly man's development of knowledge becomes a nihilist. A few, however, pass over these obstacles and with the sole objective of discovering truth continues to analyze by the grace of Allah. If they are stopped, they seek help from the Creator whom they fully believe in. The Alhamdulillah Surah that is recited at every prayer is done so with this objective. This transforms himself into a true believer, but with a revolt within himself. Even while involved in worldly affairs, his mind continues to seek truthful knowledge and desires to seek the Creator. In addition, the deen he has been taught and matters arising from it also motivates his thinking. He is now overwhelmed by the desire to see God, the Creator. In short, this state is called a tariqath. This person will still harbor doubts. The most important doubt would be about kalima's true details, that is the case of Tawhid. At present these details and explanations on Tawhid causes no doubt, nor does their thinking gets motivated. This is because the explanation of kalima and the Tawhid that arises from it have all been completely distorted to such a state that it has succeeded in completely closing up the thinking. But the people who have been shown the way, by their bravery and thirst for knowledge, by the grace of the compassionate Lord the Creator who opens up the gates of wisdom, assists them to progress in their path. The Creator leads them further by providing the environment and chance for them to continue. He explains truth and comes forward to confirm it. Surah 22, verse 24. For they have been guided in this life to the purest of speeches. They have been guided to the path, Shirath, of him who is worthy of all praise. Sharith means worshipping, Tharikath means seeking God, Hakikath means to observe God, and Murthath means to unite or come in union with God, said Abu Bakr Shibli, Rahmatullah. Whoever who harbors no doubts, his common sense is inactive is the meaning of it. If the common sense does not function, he is ignorant of faith, Emman, and the truths underlying the deen. This is not only applicable to ordinary man, even neighbors did not confirm their Emman without doubting. Surah 22, verse 52. Never did we send an apostle or a prophet before thee, but he framed a desire. Satan threw some vanity into his desire, but God will cancel anything that Satan throws in, and God will confirm and establish his signs, for God is full of knowledge and wisdom. Quran's contention is that doubts will find no shores. Needless doubts are the creation of the Satan. The doubts that emerge out of the thinking by common sense will always analyze the desires to extract the truth. Justifiable doubts is a subtle weapon that is used to extract the real truth. Needless doubts never ever make us reach the shores is an established fact. To those who desire to seek truth and strive towards getting it, God's assistance will always be with them, though not transparent. Hence, they are able to seek Ilm's truth and the secret of Tawhid in a clear, doubtless fashion. These people belong to the third division referred to as Hakikath and are personages or devotees of Hakikath. The aim of those in the primary state is to attain the state of Hakikath. Those who do not understand, express the view that Hakikath is opposed to Sharith and believe in it. This is because they have been taught so by his book knowledge. For the man who is entangled in this manner, the second and third states' knowledge and explanation of a person would be different. This is true but cannot accept that it is opposed to each other. The truth is distorted in its primary state itself. Therefore, it seems confrontational. Hence, it is not correct to say all that we learned in the beginning were 100% genuine. I am fully aware that if I go public regarding this aspect, I will be the target of ire of these people who are ignorant when I do so in their presence. Yet, I have to explain all that I know regardless of anyone's likes or dislikes. Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, or Tabi'ins who followed his teachings, or the Tabi'ins who followed the Tabi'ins, never founded any madhab, or did they follow any. These madhab find their origin during the period Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam pointed out as the period when falsehood will spread amongst his ummah. It is a fact that many good things from the madhab have arisen, but it also seems contains foolish knowledge. Very many dark corners do exist. We will get to know them at appropriate time. Some religious dignitaries living after the demise of the Prophet, when anarchy ruled the roost and the caliphate was disintegrating, took it upon themselves to preserve people's religious welfare. To accomplish this, they formulated the madhab, taking Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's live Quran and Hathees to support their contentions, and with the knowledge each of them possessed. Men who were ignorant and their power of thinking low and lacking in the habit of research followed these madhab, believing them to be authentic and practiced as they believed it. To men who seek the truth and tread God's path, madhab are not necessary. If any of the madhab, if it states the facts based on Quran and Hathees states facts that are compatible with our common sense, then we have to believe in it and accept it wholeheartedly. We have to eradicate the ideas that oppose the Quran and Hathees, including the Puranas extolling barefaced lies. In this aspect, many kitabs contain ideas that confront the Quran, Hathees and common sense. To cite an example, a person by the name of Hussein Hilmi Iskandar way of Sunnah has stated that a person who does not follow a madhab cannot be called a Mu'min or Muslim. This stand of his is wrong and foolish, so is the view of the learned, but then how could the people in want of knowledge seek it? We do not know how these authors of kitabs classify as to which madhab Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam and his Sahibas belonged to. In our country, even some learned graduates and the learned, entwined in book knowledge and without any research, seems to oppose the authentic truth with regard to religion. If the conditions we have enumerated previously, veils, that were the immediate cause of the mind's being in discordance, is eradicated by our common sense, then the person in question will transform himself into a seeker of truth and would surely succeed in reaching the truth. Matters that were true when our mind was ruled over by the veils having discordant views and knowledge would be found to be false, when common sense takes over our minds. A desire found to be correct in M.S.M is found to be false in M.S.M. A person classified as a madman, erratic, wayward and a fool by people in WAMU is considered a learned dignitary by people with common sense. When man's external mind is in connection with discordant knowledge, he gets entwined, enveloped and trapped by the three veils. In such condition, he is ignorant of being in this veiled state. He, in this state, would not accept or believe in any fact that he has not read about or known about. Whatever supporting evidences he finds, as his common sense is not acting independently, he will oppose and desist from calling it false. The reason for this is his acceptance and belief that what he learned is the only correct way. Surah 10, verse 39a. They change with falsehood at whose knowledge they cannot compass, even before the elucidation thereof hath reached them. Surah 18, verse 54. We have explained in detail in this Quran, for the benefit of mankind, every kind of similitude. But man is, in most things, contentious,